All right. We made it, guys. Just get this all perfect. Ooh, it's quite spooky. All right, let me get this right before I cue in. It's like at an angle, right, guys? Let's just, there we go. There we go, and we're live. Hey guys, welcome aboard the Just Tai Now Shit with your host Tai. Hopefully you're having a wonderful morning, evening, night, midnight special, whatever time that this is coming at you. Take this energy now that we all in the same boat. We can start the conversation. Hey, yeah. I'm gonna let the room fill up, see what happens. But I'm just gonna be here enjoying the time, enjoying the moment, enjoying the lights. And I have a few things prepared just that I want to bring up and talk about, mostly about the amina and no anima, yeah, the anima and the animus, which is the inner female and the inner male of, if you're a male, so-called male or female on this earth, like your innerness. What is on it? We're going to tie on that. It has to do with Carl Jung and his theories on the subconscious mind, and also my theories and experience with the subconscious mind, Tai's experience with the subconscious mind. But that's gonna come up. At first, Tai is sins on camera. I'm thinking of that Flight Balls video. He said Flight Balls are sins on camera, and he was smoking. But hopefully you guys got to check out the We Are Here video. And I made the crutch a little too big. Hopefully you guys get to check out the We Are Here video. I had a lot of fun making that video. Took a lot longer than I expected. Took a lot longer than I expected to actually edit it because I was using the iPad and things like that. And I was using iMovie on the iPad. So usually I use Adobe Premiere, but my computer is still whack right now. I want to try something new, go down a new avenue, and I didn't have that much fear in doing it. I was real lucid in figuring out how to work the drag the clips and cut them up and do whatever it is that I had to do in the moment. And I was getting real creative with it. I kept thinking about all these sound bites and overlaid voices I wanted to put in things. It was nice. So if you watched it, just thank you for checking it out. Now, the 2 grams that I did was of psilocybin LNI, which is quite a little more stronger than psilocybin cubensis. So 2 grams is probably like 3-4 grams, or like 4 grams, I would say. But the thing about it, it didn't affect me. I didn't see any colors or twirling patterns. And this is for documentation. And let me say this too: the Also Tai podcast, the Also Tai live stream, does not promote the use of illegal drugs. What you do with your body, what you do with your body, just for educational purposes only, and according to YouTube's own guidelines. As long as I'm not putting it out there and promoting it, this is available for monetization and no copyright strikes right here on this side today. As a warning, but I love saying that. It's where we live in. You gotta give out the warnings because people out here will think that you tell them to go do something and they try to do it the exact same way that you did it. And then they'll be in a mental hospital, or their friend that didn't really know that much called the cops when really would have been gone a couple hours. So it's a whole many factors as to why these warnings are in the videos, besides just YouTube wanting to take down channels like mine in order to say that, hey, we don't promote drugs on our channel or illegal drugs at that. But when you look around, there's a whole lot of other channels that talk about psychedelics that YouTube have sponsored. Like, what is it? Vsauce traveled to Peru and he was doing ayahuasca in the jungle, and it was sponsored. It's titled a YouTube original series, and he was exploring his mind and doing ayahuasca and things like that. But I ain't gonna get too mopey wopey because my channel is untouchable. We are pristine and we just tie. We just tie. We just think about these things. But my experience with 2 grams, I was saying on the previous video, is comparable to around 4 grams of cubensis. The microdosing, I microdose fairly often. So when it comes to tolerance, and my microdoses with psilocybin and amina is only like point two, point one. Like I just take a little stem, put it in tea, or just crumble it up and eat it right there, right then. That's about as much as I do with that, and it has the effects of. I never did Adderall or any other medication to help me focus, but it helps me focus. That's my anxiety lower a ton, and it helps me not block my problems out, but actually want to tackle all my problems. Cause like, oh, well, that ain't such a big problem. This is a solution to it. I don't feel that much. When I'm upset about things, or when people are upset about things, I believe the solution gets blocked a lot easier when it's really just right there around the corner. But when you angry, it's just like, wait, is it over there? Is it down there? Is it over there? And you get upset, you're like, oh, it's just, oh, okay, cool. I don't gotta take that trauma on anymore. But I like this incense. But yeah. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Oh yeah, smoke messes up the green screen. Learned that before. Yeah, but what I was saying was that the two I've been microdosing a lot, so I believe, and remember, belief is what you create. So this is just what I believe. So I guess I'm creating this reality for myself. But tolerance plays a huge role when you microdose, and if you all of a sudden want to try to blast off into hyperspace, like I was attempting to do just a little bit. But it was still the hiking trip. It allowed me to keep walking the 2 grams. It allowed me to. I didn't have hallucinations, but the clearness and the clarity of mind that I had was woo, woo. It was spectacular. The rocks didn't bother me. My energy level. I see. I want to talk to some hikers, some real official aficionado hikers, and see if they know about psilocybin mushrooms. And is this what they really take sometimes when they go on those long hiking excursions and do things that's TV worthy, like Survivor Man and all these other things, but just everyday backpacking people. Because it's for me coming from the city, especially, so that I didn't grow up in this type of environment of hiking and going for miles and not really staying on the trail and different trails, splitting it off the different trails and things like that, and really going really like the stuff you see on TV. It's a national park. Isn't that bit well? At least should be considered a national park. But I'm gonna look into that to see if it is or not. But allowing me to be able to go and just keep on walking and not really be bothered by stuff. Hold on once. Oh wait. We got somebody in here. Hey, what's up, Brandon? So I never microdosed before. I only had 3.5 grams or more. With acid, I never take more than 1 tab because that shit freaks me out. Yo, quick tidbit. When I first took acid, I thought it wasn't good. I was one of those people. Oh, it ain't do nothing. It ain't do nothing. I think I need another one. I took 2 my first time, and it really just woo catapulted me. Well, it was all good. I think when you don't have that much expectations and you, you roll with the punches a lot more than when you like, all right, I can actually freak out. But yeah, you said you only had 3.5 grams or more. The first time I did shrooms, I had 3.6 or something because I wanted to save one shroom. I bought an eighth and I wanted to save one shroom for later, so I just took one out. And that time was kind of not similar to this because I was on my way to the woods back in Philadelphia. I was already doing microdoses of acid and going through the woods and seeing experiences with myself and things and seeing what comes out. But I was like, all right, I can do this with shrooms. I did it with acid. But walking there, I was on the phone with my girlfriend. I was like, oh, this is just normal. Soon as I was up there, got close, I said, I want to turn around. I said, yeah, I said, man, I just feel like I want to just go home. I think I'm gonna just go home. I don't want to go to the park anymore. And I was feeling to come up, I suppose. And I was home. I was home. That was an experience in and of itself. I gotta make a dedicated video to that. Because the more I've been talking about it, little tidbits, the more story of what actually occurred starts popping up in my visual field. So I'm gonna make a video about my first shroom trip. Wasn't as explosive as most people's shroom trips. That's why I didn't make one in the past. But yeah, let's do it. But to go back on the mountain trip, climbing back on top of Bidwell Park Mountain, it allowed me. I'm talk first. It allowed me to just keep walking. Like I was just like, oh, I'm just keep going. I'm keep going. Oh, I went far. Oh, that tree branch all the way over there. I ain't gonna stop till I get to that tree branch. That tree all the way over there. That's what I kept saying in the distance. Then when I got there, I was like, oh well, look at that. I want to keep going. I want to see what's over there. I just kept getting checkpoints. I was creating checkpoints for myself and I just kept going. Like a checkpoint said, oh, I'm here. Now I want to go here. Now I want to go here. And it was just like an adventure. Just like, what's next? What's next? I didn't feel the need to say, oh man, I'm going to have to walk all of this back. I'm like that thought didn't come to my mind as like a sense of emergency or things like that. Because, sometimes when you walk far, you be like, and you enjoying yourself. If you're not in the moment, remember you were a child, you was able to go far, do whatever. But when you start growing up, you're like, oh man, this is fun and all, but I'm gonna have to turn around and walk this same exact distance back. And in my reality, I just avoided that because I'm always, in my past, I was always overthinking, planning, plotting energies out. But hey, the mushroom seems as though they show you in low doses if you're trying to do things like paint, or I'm not a computer engineer, but working on computers or writing a book. I believe that's how a lot of these books are written. Like even probably Brave New World, like official novel books, not just should be even probably Dr. Seuss, but but then again, back then a lot of people's minds weren't as concentrated as they are now, and that's why they didn't have technology back then. But I don't know. It's a lot of ifs. It's a lot of ifs. A lot of weighing of the scales of this happened or this happened. And like Alex in Wonderland, was he really on mushrooms? Did he know about mushrooms? Did he have a mycologist background, or did he have a mycologist friend, or did he just like hanging around little girls and had, for our 2019 standards, an unhealthy relationship around young children and things because he preferred to hang around them more than he preferred to hang around adults. So probably had this probably saw adults as like being too adultish, to being too grown, not being connected to that inner childness that he was into. It's no molestation stories that ever came out. They even talked to the people, the little people later in life, but he just like hanging around them. But his story, when if you take a mushroom, is like this is the exact same thing, just in storytelling form. Exact same adventure. So that's why I try to stay. I'm just going off tangent, off a tangent, off a tangent. So just and if y'all got want to interrupt me, just interrupt me. But when he was, I looked at the incense and got the straight. But he was his book Alex in Wonderland just explains the mushroom trip very live. And that's all I'm saying. Is that seems oh yeah, moving into being able to get into so-called heaven. Like in the Bible, the King James Christian Bible, they say, at least ye enter as a child, thou cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Like that line always sticks to me for some reason. That's why I always have a childlike behavior about me, even without even knowing those lines, but just in me. When people around me, they can't really guess my age. I guess that's why I'm trying to grow my beard out, but that's not even really working like that. But But my behavior patterns and people that I always looked up to, or like older people, were just always playful, like that playful grandpa, or just that real playful adult that was into cartoons. I always looked up to those people, and let alone I was that person myself. But yeah, the 2 grams on the mountains allowed me to just keep on walking and keep. I didn't have that many worries. I was like, oh, look at that tree. Wow, the wind. Whoo, I'm just floating in the wind. This wind is cool. Like I could see. It was all the good things that you would want to get out of a hiking trip. It seems as though that's what the psilocybin mushroom allowed me to get out of it in that dose range. Now, if I went higher, I probably would have had to sit a lot more, meditate, because I probably would have said, oh, I'm going deep, deep into myself, like really deep in. I want to really work with this right now. But at that level, for me, it wasn't that much inner workness. But for in my world, whatever I'm really doing on the outside too, as long as I'm doing on the inside, it's weird how to put this in English, but as long as I'm like connecting my mind, body, and soul, as they say, all at the same time, it seems as though it's all working and correlating all at the same time. Like me using all that energy and focus and looseness to calm the mountain was me doing things in my psyche as well, like conquering thoughts and things. Cause things pop up when you climbing a mountain. I don't bring headphones, I don't bring music or anything with me when I go out in nature, even without mushrooms. So thoughts pop up. Thoughts pop up. Oh, probably I should never said that. Or, oh, well, I said this. How did that affect that? And it sounds cliche, but that's how it is. That's how you dive deep. You got to go through the cliches, break it down to simpleness. Because when you complicate things, that's when you never, that's when, at least in my experience, I never come up to actually admit my part fully enough to say, oh, well, I have to change. If you leave that certain part, like, oh well, they have to change. They gotta deal with that. They gotta deal with that. You know. uh, Looking on some White Widow. White Widow got the hemp paper rolled up into. It's hemp paper because I used to smoke blunts all the time. So this is hemp. I'm not. This hemp paper is still brown, so it kind of reminds me of. This is for if you like trying to transition from blunts to a more healthier source. In my book, and they got some organic hemp papers too. But this one I like because you can split these. Like you see that little tear right there? You can actually split these into two. I'm cheap. Split these into two, then add a paper around it and make it burn slow like you would a blunt. Because most blunt smokers they don't like papers or anything like that because it burns it burns fast, especially if you're in the wind. And if you ain't getting all the stuff all the cannabis properly crunched in there, but still being able to be a definite roll, it will start bolting and things like that, like how you see right there. But that will be down there, and then this part won't be lit. So it infuriates, well, it infuriates blunt smokers to go to papers. But yet the tobacco paper is the thing that is slowly. I don't want to put no beliefs out there, but it is based off of previous experiences that I have seen. It is messing up the inner lungs, and thus you're not able to breathe as deeply as you could at your age, whatever it is. And also scratchy throats. My mom, I'm trying to help my mother convert off of blunts. And she always said, I can't take these papers. And I was living with her, I would try to get her to get the papers, but they ain't have hemp paper, hemp wraps over on in Philadelphia. I ain't know about these till I moved to California. But she talks about her voice and everything like that, and she has problems breathing, and she's her doctor even told her in Pennsylvania it's not legal to keep smoking cannabis because she has lupus and all these other things going on. I want to introduce her to kratom. That's another story. But I don't know, just skip because my mind just jumps around. When I went back to Philly, I couldn't find no papers. I went to 7-Eleven and actually bought some entourages. That's what I used to smoke all the time. It's a tobacco wrap. And you don't have to gut it or nothing. That's why I like it. And the next day or that day, my throat was like, it was really messed up. I was like, I can't say hee hee. Like I was watching a lot of Flight Boss around that time. I'm still kind of that. Then he says hee hee like Michael Jackson, and I kept trying to say that, and it would just come out like hee hee. And I was like, yo, my voice is gone. And it was gone for like 4 days, all for just two L's. So if that was my normal conditioning of blunts, and that was just living like that, man. I'm just thinking about singers and things. Mm. To each his own. But once I went tried to go back, my throat was destroyed. But the smell and everything brought back was so familiar that it was like I was flashed back to my friend's room when we were smoking blunts and stuff all the time. You know, it was the the addiction is real. But I like to talk. I'll spark a blunt up with you. Brandon said, I got some Girl Scout cookies I grew myself. I switched from blunts to papers myself because I started getting sick. But now I'm back on blunts because all those reasons. Yo, I will definitely, if you grew it and if it's offered to me, I'll take it. I ain't shisty like that. If you got a blunt, roll me up. It's just that I'm by myself all the time, so the opportunity to smoke blunts doesn't come up. But Girl Scout cookies, and plus you grew them, that's an experience. I grew a plant myself, and for some reason it's not coming to me about what it was. But it was an autoflower plant because I was in Philly and I have all those months to want to grow stuff. So I had an autoflower plant. So it was from seed to bud in like 6 months. So it didn't grow extravagantly big and robust, but it was an awesome experience talking to it and taking care of them and things. Well, her. If it was a male, have seeds, and I would have been upset. But yeah, back on blunts. I went to blunts. I've transitioned from joints to blunts at least like 3, 4 times in my life. And what I mean, like I transitioned at first, Wiz Khalifa jumped into my spatial fifth dimensional realm and was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I was like, "No, yeah, fuck blunts, papers, Taylors, yeah." So I respect Wiz for that, getting that message out there. But then it took two blunts. One, I had a game, white grape game. That was my thing. I love white grape games, and once I took two blunts, and I was back on it. And then I went back for a couple months, and I went back again when I moved back to Philly. I don't know. It just be coming out, and it comes out in spurs. It can't used to come out in spurs. But hey, man, Snoop been smoking blunts all this time, and his voice still seemed right. But I don't know. He probably used to just staying in a certain vocal range. I ain't gonna try to go that high, nephew. That's the reason why I don't like facts that much because you can be talking to a 96-year-old guy that's smoking cigars and things like that. Even though cigars, you don't inhale them. So it's a lot. It's a lot out here. Just tie. Just tie. Just tie. Just think about it. Sticking the cannabis, I'll be getting to dabbing. I want to dab during the mushroom trip though. Like how people say take DMT during a mushroom trip. During the peak of a mushroom trip. Let's take a dab. Let's take like not no pussy little dab. Let's take like a nice little point point two, point three dab of some dosey dough. I take hits of dosey dough and I start sweating. I start sweating. I still gotta sit down, and the head rush is like, I just gotta sit. And the reason why I bring this up is because people really do have to believe and just know that cannabis is a psychedelic. We're just taking it in such low forms that we don't notice the experience that is given to you. Unless you microdose with shrooms or LSD, then when you do anything else, you know what you're doing. That's why I know I smoke for fun. I know I smoke for fun and to enjoy myself, not just all to relax, because I can relax on my own. but just to really enjoy myself. And that's what it be telling me. And that's why I gotta watch out for. So I don't know, whatever. No such thing as a can abuse cannabis. I guess you can, but I'm not. So I'm not going to talk about that right now. But I try not to go through too many changes. If you was in my mind, man. Um, but to stick to the story, I like honey. Brands. I like Honey Fusion Dutch Masters. Have you ever had those cigarellos, bro? Dabbing on shrooms literally intensifies the trip by like 100 for like 10 seconds, and you're like sitting there like, jeez. I've yeah, I used to go to cigarellos because I was trying to save weed, save money. Weed over in Philly is expensive, and cigarellos offered a small alternative. And I was like, oh, this is all I need. This is all I need. But I still was going to game cigarellos. I didn't really like Swisher Sweets, especially the reds, because they were thin and they dried out and they cracked real easily. Even sometimes before I even got to roll them, and still I had to roll paper around them. They ain't come with leaf. But yeah, I was into the cigarellos. I was into cigarellos for a while. Honey Fusion Dutch Master. I never had a Honey Fusion Dutch Master, but I had Dutch Masters before. It cracks me up with the Quakers on the cover. That's what I just thinking about. But yeah, I know this girl back to at Temple College in Philly, and she will always ask me. Yeah, I was talking about how weed is a psychedelic. Even when you're smoking, time to relax. I like to slow time down. I like to enter the field. I like to become a stoner. Like become a stoner. Like that's what it is. What it is. But not the stereotypical stoner. Let me say that. Not the stereotypical stoner, but stick to the story, guys. The lady, the girl, she always asked me, well, how did I smoke so much? Every time she see me, I had an L in my hand, and I'll be smoking, and she'd be like, man, I only can take a couple puffs, or I can't smoke at all, cause I'll start tripping out. And she had green. I don't know if this means anything, but she had dyed hair. She was in a. She liked music. She was in a band and things like that. So I see that she was already connected to her expressive side. That's how I see her. She always really expressiveness. Even though she was real timid as well, she had a real like punk rocker added vibe to her. She had a real punk rocker vibe to her. But she will tell me that she couldn't dab. She was like, "You heard dab?" I said, "I heard dabbing before." She said, I can't dab at all." And she told me that one time when she took dabs, when she took a dab, she saw elves or gnomes, whatever it was to her reality. But that's what she said to me. She saw them running around the room off a dab. Now, when I heard this, I was like, "Wait a second. I'm about to stop smoking for a whole year so I can take a dab and see some else, see some THC, THC and D entities. Yeah, THC entities. I keep about to say DMT entities, but some THC entities. But she was legit telling the truth, saying that she took a dab and she saw elemental creatures walking around the room. And then she swore off of it forever and said I was never going to do it again. So I want to do that. I want to do that and see how it affects me on a good enough hefty dose of psilocybin mushrooms and document the results for scientific resonance for the future. Like Reddit, I say Reddit and shroomery.com are so valuable as a library, as a source of information, of first-hand accounts of people that are just like me, or just not like me, or just like just. And they experiment with research chemicals like 2CB, ALAD, all these other things out here, and also DMT, shrooms, because as I've said before, the stigmatism is so heavy on these plants that in the clinical sense, they're not able to be properly researched. But if the thing is doing something, then people are going to be doing that something. So Reddit, shroomery.com, and DMT-nexus.com, I believe that's what it is. I haven't been there in a long time. But these are first-hand accounts of people who are crossing the line of the forbidden zone and going into that zone and seeing what's there for themselves, coming back. They didn't stay right here and say, "Oh, what did y'all see?" They didn't walk up to the line and say, "What's over there?" They said, "Whoop! Oh, wow, where am I? I gotta tell y'all, son. Let me tell y'all. I can't tell the world. I gotta tell people that are ready for this information, that have similar experience, and all of this in between." I think I said something. I wish these messages stayed up when they came. I also made DMT in my kitchen. The DMT Nexus taught me how to make it. Yeah, DMT Nexus. That's that. I did get it right then. Yeah, because you can't just ask a scientist how to make it, and it's not in your book. 'Cause you can't buy a cookbook of how to make DMT from your local grocery store, or even from the local drugstore or local pharmacy or anything like that. These are intelligent people, very intelligent people. Like, if y'all want a public face, ta- um Hamilton Morris. Hamilton Morris. I love hearing them break down the chemical structures of plants and just say it off a Wimbug. But these are people just like him, just like you, just like me, who have a story to tell. And they experimented with different ranges and they compared notes with other people, with other so I want to say psychonauts, or I want to say I'm trying to come up with a word. It was a new word that was trying to sleek through the ethers, but it kind of sleek. It didn't sleek enough through. But, cosmonauts. I don't know. But these people that are traveling ultra wide into the journey and seeing things like this, and comparing notes just like a scientist would do. Say, write down when they came back, write down what happened, or recorded what happened with a vocal recorder, because it gets wiped off in memory, and then compare it with other psychonauts. And then it's a whole community gets based, starts growing and growing. They start giving out tips, say, "Oh, don't do that," or "Oh, don't make this with lighter fluid, because you'll be smoking lighter fluid." I know you heard that probably from some other guy that was saying this, but these people have tested this, and we talk about this, and then you see different. That's how I learned about the different levels of the psychedelic experience before I hopped into it, because of these awesome people that were saying, "Oh, I took this much and I experienced this," and then other people say, "Oh yeah, I took that much too and I experienced this much." Then people that are probably fatter, so then you learn that people with more body weight, it takes more to get that same dosage that somebody with less body weight. You'll never know that. And people then go and share this information on these websites. And also when it goes real deep into seeing with aliens, how you would put it, or extra dimensional beings, elemental spirits, something that's just out of the ordinary. It comes in the time, even though we in 2019, where you can just talk to your mom, talk to probably sometimes your best, hopefully your best friend, hopefully your best friend. Let's just put that out there. Hopefully your best friend. But a lot of times you're not able to talk about the things that you've seen to anyone. That's how it feels to anyone but those who have similar experiences. And more than likely, they're not in your physical arena. They're not in your coliseum fighting the fight with you. They're in some other coliseum. But the awesome thing about the internet, and this mycelium network that we created called the internet, we're able to connect and communicate with each other while being seemingly miles and miles and miles apart. And in some cases, never get to meet each other. There's some people that have posted their life on the internet and then their life went somewhere else. So now their life is still talking, initiating, helping, motivating other people because they took the time to build up certain things. Yeah, that's how it be. Mm. It's just a little uh, I didn't think it was gonna focus, and this is a tiny bud. Mm. But another cool thing I wanted to tell you about, but I didn't have a lot of questions. Well, God, was about I want to talk about the amina, the anima, and the animus. The anima and the animus are terms coined by Carl Jung way back when. I'm not good at dates. Way back when, and it represents the anima is supposed to represent the inner femaleness of males, and the animus is the inner male of the female. Like whatever you are here is it in the subconscious realm. It comes out as supposedly the opposite or the opposing, whatever it is. And Carl Jung was, he started the Jung Society. He was a person that explored dreams. He was real big on exploring the subconscious realm through the experience of dreams, and he analyzed thousands of people dreams. I have his besides listening to Terrence talk about him and stuff like that. I also looked at him up on my own, and I have this book called Come on, Light Glare. I'm like fighting like, grr. There we go. Man and his symbols, and he got this cool sigil. It has a sigil, guys. It has some information that when you look at it, Carl Jung or somebody from the Jung Society put something in it that unlocks something in your subconscious field. Symbols are sigils, and I should make a podcast. We're gonna we talk about that another time, making our own sigils and things like that. But I wanted to go to this chapter though about when he talks about the anima, the woman within, and for me, it ties in if you just think about it with when people explore the DMT realms and high dose psilocybin realms, they meet a lady, and they meet a lady, just a simple, plain, beautiful, like just wonderful lady. And if I was able to show you a YouTube clip of somebody talking about this wholeheartedly, type in meeting the blue lady, Shaman Oaks. He's an awesome guy that uploads his DMT journeys, and he goes real in depth about when he met the lady with his visuals. Me, I haven't explored that far to see the lady visualized, but I have most definitely encountered her and felt her and heard her talking to me. And we're going to tie on all of this, and also true life stories. If you check out his YouTube catalog, he talks about meeting the lady as well. But Shaman Oaks talks about how this lady was creating the dream. Like when he was in, let's put it in terms so that it can relate to what Carl Jung talks about. Carl Jung uses the word subconscious a lot, not four, six dimensions, and all that stuff. But so Shaman Oaks talks about diving into the the lady was creating the dream. Like after he's prepared by the gnomes and was taken off to this other world, he was the lady was creating everything that he was seeing, and he felt one with the lady. Like this was what he was looking for all of his life. All of his life. This is the lady that he was looking for, that he wanted in the external world, so to speak. And he met him. And this lady was also creating everything. Creating. And just to tie on the video, just for background information that's in my head, I see that when it's a lady that's creating the dream world, so to speak, the subconscious reality, and then when you go even further back, the God, I don't really know how to put it, comes off as a reflection of who you are in this realm. So if you're a male, then when you there, you will see it as a male. You'll see the reflection of God as you as a male. But if it's your woman, you'll see it as a woman. and it was stories out there of people that explored DMT and went real far, and they were able to see both. When the lady says she saw God as a man, and the men always say they see God as a man. I mean, the woman say they see it as a woman, the man say they see it as a man. But sticking to the subconscious and see meeting the lady, my experience with the lady was just seeing the feeling of everything. But I got kind of mixed up, and that's what I want to talk about with the Carl Jung and everything, because then I started projecting this. I started searching for this feeling out there in the world, and when it didn't match what was particularly in my partner, it was freaking me out. It was freaking me out, and a lot of things was entailing from that. So I want to go into this and Just Tai because I dealt with this a lot. The anima figure and how Carl Jung puts it really I believe is going to help, and how I'm gonna twist it up is really going to help a lot of people that's that's going out projecting on women what they believe that women should be, because of how, and we're gonna see how it's because of how we feel on the inside, because how it is on the inside, how we need to work things out and get our gears and everything back in order, so that we gonna tie, we gonna say, I ain't gonna hype it up too much, we're just gonna tie, you get what you get. But yeah, I'm gonna read a little bit from it too. I'm gonna read a little bit from the book. That's why I got this green screen and stuff up here, because eventually I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna add all this stuff, make things pop up, things like that, like how I used to. Computer gonna be back in order. All right, it says the anima, the woman within. I'm gonna keep this up so you can at least see something. Difficult and subtle ethical problems are not invariably brought up by the appearance of the shadow self. Often another inner figure emerges. If the dreamer is a man, he will discover a female personification of his own unconsciousness, and it will be a male figure in the case of a woman. Often, this second symbolic figure turns up behind the shadow side. So this is when you did a lot of shadow work. Like I was saying, Shaman Oaks and myself, I was already in this exploring these realms and getting a lot cleared out of me, getting a lot worked on. You seeing visibly seeing my shadow side and hearing it talk to me. I heard my shadow side for years. I remember my nana and stuff that was in the church would say, "Hey, that's not God talking." Cause I say, "Man, the shadow side is saying you don't believe this. You're not worth it. You do this, you mess up." Like it was really like, "Oh, you see this as this. You really like the shadow side." I really heard that voice for years. But but yeah, Carl Jung was specifically saying that often this second figure turns up behind the shadow, bringing up new and difficult problems. Jung called its male and female forms the animus and the amina, the ana, anima. The anima is a personification of all female psychological tendencies in a male psyche, such as vague feelings and moods, prophetic hunches, receptiveness, receptiveness to the irrational, capacity for personal love, feeling for nature, and last but not least, his reflection to the unconsciousness. And this is what the lady to me was representing. Like before, like I don't know, when I talked in the past about combining the male and the female, this is exactly what I was talking about, how it exists in all of us. And that's how we can be more creative and be more expressive and connect more with nature. We have the male dominance stereotype is so big everywhere that you look at. Everything is male, 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 male. Even in the Christian church, preacher, 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 not priestess. This priestess don't exist. They don't want those. That's why Jesus didn't mix with Mary. Mary wasn't powerful at all, they try to say. Mary had a lot of influence. Mary had a lot of influence. And she continuously does. But I believe that this was all pushed, the all of this was pushed down, the feminine and the male, so that only certain people were able to have these prophetic hunches and receptiveness to the irrational, which I see the receptiveness to the irrational just means being able to have nonsensical thinking, not having so structured thinking that you keep on living like a robot, that you keep on saying, "Oh well, this is the way life is. It's just going to keep going like this forever and ever." Suck it up, woman up, do what you got to do, straighten up that face, keep your arms crossed if you need to, but hey, man, you got it's fire, and that's all. But the receptive to the rational will say, hey, it's some beauty in here. And also, they said the capacity for personal love. I remember during meeting this lady and having those feelings of finally getting past the shadow, I was getting this receptiveness of love of saying I can finally accept love from others in a way that I didn't feel though I was able to ever, or didn't even know that I wasn't able to ever. It was like, bang, new level, new powers. You can receive love. It was like, I thought I was receiving. I thought I was accepting love in the way that it was given and things like that. It's like, nope, nope. So all these is in feeling for nature. A lot of people, you hear the Aboriginals, you hear me encouraging people to just get out in nature. A lot of people are disconnected in nature. They don't believe in going hiking and like my feet gonna hurt. I'm gonna be tired. I'm gonna be thirsty. I want to have a picnic. Picnics, pick a nigga. Like it's all. I don't want to do none of that. So it's all wrapped up. Yeah. I really need to go this okay. Way. Give me 1 second, please. Come. All right. Accepting this and getting away from nature and things like that. And when you are in nature, look at the people that go out. Well, I don't say look at the people because you're looking at me. Don't look at me. Look at the people out in the world that you see are in tune with nature and things like that. And the things that the gifts that they're able to give to the world. And then look at the people that's more business minded, that's more structured, and like they seem to believe that social Darwinism needs to exist. Look at things that they're putting out into the world and see how their attitudes are about life and how they operate. And you'll see, come here, you'll see America and then you'll see a village somewhere in South America or Africa and things like that. The difference is real. The difference is real. But we're gonna keep going. And represents his relation to the unconsciousness. So for men and women, if connecting to this animus and anima figure, I believe it's our connection to to spirit, to our higher selves, and that's what I've talked Tai about a lot to people, and saying that we need to connect to a part of ourselves that we're not that comfortable with because of how society says it's not needed, like it's not needed, or because of all the traumas and hardships that we've been through is so damaged that we don't want to deal with it anymore. That's what happens more times than what I said before. If it's so much trauma, and then we get ways to try to deal with that trauma, and they try to give us ways. I say the government and the FDA and things try to give us ways to deal with it, and it makes it worse. Or for some people, they have treatment resistant depression, and there's no treatment does anything. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever. So we have to. I've seen that connecting with this amina figure or the animus figure is really that bridge. Just put it in Jung terminology, is really that bridge to balancing out ourselves, balancing out our whole psyche, then becoming that hermaphrodite figure that you see in, I think it's a picture in here, in a lot of the alchemical books. And they had a picture, I think it said page 93. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's not page 93, guys. But you ever see in alchemical books where they see a figure and it got two heads? Got two heads, a male and a female head coming off the same body. That's the alchemical philosopher's stone. That is the philosopher's stone, which is the completion of the self. It's the turning of, man, I'm trying to find that picture. Of crap, shit, into gold. Here it goes. Page 31, not 93. And that's page 177, what I was on. Here goes a picture. standing on top of the dragon. They have conquered and riding the dragon. Like that's what I'm talking about. So that's what I believe. That's what this brings us to. When we connect with that creative side of us, connect with our feelings, connect with nature. Like it's not just all some hippy dippy stuff I be throwing out there. I really, I tie it all up so I can say it as fluently as I can. But I have to put on record that I do a lot of research in the books, in the explorations of my own world, and I put myself in situations when I look back on it and when I'm in the moment on purpose just to see what comes out. And sometimes I know I can probably avoid some, but I like to put myself in situations. And I feel that's what our spirits always like to do. Our spirits like to get new experience, but I feel that driver's seat. I feel that driver's seat. And it's going to get better and better. I'm becoming better driver, better driver. Or I'm just doing as good as I possibly can. I'm as good as I possibly can for this moment, period. And that's why I tell you guys, you are doing the best that you possibly can for this moment, point blank, period. It's all good. It's all good. All right. And say it is no chance, mere chance, that in the olden times, priestesses like the Greek Sibyl were often used to phantom the divine will and to make connection with the gods. Because back then, the Greeks, remember the Egyptians said, "You Greeks are babes, y'all know nothing of the mysteries." So the Greeks, they was all still about power. They say Rome wasn't built in a day. A lot of civilizations have built their civilization based off how the Romans and the Greeks structured their civilization for the third time again. But but the thing we gotta look at is that these, besides Plato and those awesome secret society people, the main head figures, they were just macho men, just like the people today, Caesar and all, and they were just macho men, just like Trump, just like George Washington, just like Teddy Roosevelt. They were big-headed masculine figures just like them. So they would use these oracles, but they still had a sense of things. They would use these oracles to connect with, and they mostly would use women because them themselves was damaged and not connected with their inner amina, their inner spirit. So they had to use the women, the oracles, to go out into the woods, sniff some herbs or get some smoke, some whatever it was, to be able, and then they would connect and come back with this message, or what war was going to come, or how should they move in this war, or this enemy was coming this way, or this politic, this thing like that. They went to the women for the oracle because the man, still like today we working on, man, need to turn upside down sometimes. We need to hang ourselves. We need to hang that ego. And that's for the female as well. Is we all in this game together. And a hangman card, that's what I was thinking about. We gotta look at this life from a whole new perspective. You see, the hangman is not hanging himself like by a rope on the tarot card. He's hanging upside down and is loosely around his foot. He can slip out at any time. And he has a smile on his face. He's not like, "Oh, I'm dead." He's like, "Wow, new perspective, new perspective." You need me to put another one on?
I just want you to put on a different.
Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just going to put one real fast. So I can be back to doing the show. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Can you watch this one real fast? It's us on the route to the spot. Until I come back. I'm going to find the name for you. All right. Whew. A lot of running around. I'm gonna make sure that this gets out. All right, talking about the anima and anima. A good example. All right, I'm gonna go jump back to where I was at in the book. It said a particularly good example of how the anima is experienced as an inner figure in a man's psyche is found in the medicine men and prophet shaman among the Eskimo and other Arctic tribes. Some of these even wear women clothes or have breasts depicted on their garments in order to manifest their inner feminine side, the side that enables them to connect with the ghost land, i.e., what we call the unconscious in the Jung society, or the fifth, fourth, and sixth dimension, or the DMT realm, or the psychedelic realm, the psychedelic experience. And that's why I say ritual connects us. Ritual, we say, why do humans always come up with rituals and things that they think express the divine or connects them with the divine? I believe because it puts your state of mind in it in this in the state of being. It makes your state of being. Doing that, you're making your state of being attached to a certain state of mind. I'll put it like that through ritual and things like that. So that's how it is. One reported case tells of a young woman who was being initiated by the older shaman and who was buried by him in a snow hole. He fell into a state of dreamlessness and exhaustion. In his coma, he suddenly saw a woman who emitted light. She instructed him in all he needed to know, and later, as his protective spirit helped him to practice his difficult profession of retelling of relating him to the powers of the beyond. Such an experience shows the amina as the personification of a man's unconscious. Because remember, all this is what we are creating. This whole thing, this whole reality. I mean, when we dive into these realms, we're diving into ourselves. We're going deep, deep into ourselves, into our DNA, what's making up us, our universe, and things like that. And so he's saying that this figure that we see or feel represents it represents that realm in totality. Like you say here, Shaman Oak says that the lady was creating the dream as they went along. So this was him talking to himself, but in the form of the meaning, something supposedly bigger, just creating as they go, creating the unconscious. And this is what's always happening. And that's why I love that I'm getting more connected with, and I'm seeing all of this stuff with my own eyes and seeing it out in the world of other people that's more connected, but that I'm getting more connected with that side of me, and it's awesome. It keeps a smile on my face, allows me to not get irritated, and allows me to be creative in order to express myself. Like a lot of ways when you try to express yourself and force it through other means and things, or just hold it in, don't express it, or don't even feel the need to express yourself because the TV is doing it for you, or other things. You letting other people do things for you, and it just gets dampened. So connecting with it is just it's awesome experience. It's awesome. And only that should be the goal of all of us in order to become more balanced being, connecting that left and right brain hemispheres, as they say as well, and connecting with the divine within. That's what the psychedelic plane is supposed to be. You ever hear the word entheogen? That means awakening the divine within. That's why these plants are given these terms as well, because they awaken the divine within. And I see that as now when I look into the world, a lot of females are connecting with their animus, and a lot of males are connecting with their anima. And you can see this playing out. A lot of people are not taking it comes in the form of people not taking no shit from people. and also in the forms of people accepting a lot of things about people that they were not accepting before because they accepted a lot of things about themselves because they're connected with the thing that's creating themselves. They don't seem so lost anymore. They like, wow, I'm connected with myself. I'm connected with the love that I've been searching for that I knew didn't exist in this world as it is right now when I'm meeting this lady or male. Mm. And this is how it plays into the third dimension. Why I wanted to bring this up and how I think it can help people and relate to people a lot more. I said it is in its individual manifestation character. Wait, in its individual manifestation, the character of a man's anima is a rule shaped by his mother. If he feels that his mother had a negative influence on him, his anima will often express itself in irritable, depressed moods, uncertainty, insecurity, and touchiness. If, however, he's able to overcome the negative assaults on himself, they can even serve to reinforce his masculinity. Mm. So see all the traps, even when you get over it, you think you get over all that things, all that stuff, the way that it's done when you don't really connect with the animal, it just reinforces the masculinity and makes you just more arrogant, more big headed because you're depressed, you're messed up, got mental disorders going on, and they're not being properly treated or properly addressed or treated. Just messed up all around. Just messed up all around. And then it says, within the soul of such a man with negative mother and man figure will endlessly repeat this theme. I am nothing. Nothing makes sense. With others is different, but for me, I enjoy nothing. These amina moods cause a sort of dullness, a fear of disease, of impotence, or of accidents. The whole of life seems to take on a sad, oppressive aspect. Such dark moods can even lure a man to suicide, in which case the amina becomes a death demon. She appear, and then they talk about this old French film where that she appears. The Amanda figure appears as a death type figure, and we see this a lot. I've seen this in my old life. Like I said, I used to be suicidal in my past. My mom was a single parent, so she did her best job. She did the best that she could as a single black woman in America. Put it like that. Um, but a lot of people out here are damaged. A lot of people have mothers, and a lot of people out here like us have mothers that weren't able to give us the full attention, the full love that can be provided in a dual parent or um a non-traumatized also mom. You know what I'm trying to say down the line. And so these things, these personality traits are passed on the amina in the male or the animus in the female. When it comes to the females and the dads, like a lot of dads are missing out of people's lives. So a lot of people are not connected to nature, as they were saying, not connected to nature, don't have prophetic hunches, have you are not receptive to the irrational, and don't have prophetic, yeah, don't have a feeling for nature or a personal sense of love. This is all. This is what's happening in society. See it in the hip hop community. Talk about community. See it in the rock and roll community. See it in the R&B community. See it everywhere. White, black, Asian, Chinese. That is Asian. You see it everywhere, and it's because of this disruption from nature, and because of the anima and this our innerness, our heart. We're not connected to our heart center. We're not connected to at all to our guts, to our liver. We're storing a lot of hate in our organs. We're storing a lot of hate in our organs, and we're just keeping them there. We're keeping them there and not dealing with them and watching too much TV and phones and things like that. In the wrong way. In the wrong way. It's the right way. I mean, it's a cool things to do things, and it's a not. Just tie, just tie, just tie. Just think about all these things. Think about all these things, man. Because when it was revealed to me, the lady was revealed to me, then I wanted that lady to be represented on the outside. I said, wow, this is what I was always searching for on the outside of me. This is what I was always projecting onto women. This is what I always wanted. And this is why I was always kind of upset and not satisfied, because this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted the person to live up to. But everybody is people. And you people have their own lives, their own configurations. So that's what I had to become within myself. And that was the insecurities I had to build up. I had to become more receptive to the reaction. I had to be all of those things. And I had to see how, go through the work, go through more shadow work and things like that to see how it was passed on from generation to generation and from community to community, because people just didn't know. People just didn't know how to do it. And I used to grow up being emo, saying things like, I am nothing, nothing makes sense. Or what's the difference? Like you hear this, like people say, oh, I don't enjoy this. Like people be all happy. Why you all smiling? Why you always nice all the time? Like that being nice all the time does not make sense to a lot of people. It doesn't. It doesn't. And the dangerous thing about people that, the warning about people that do psychedelics is that when they not really dealing with the problems in their life and they think they just getting high and things like that, they'll start going out and damaging other women or other men because they're trying to chase that feeling that was supposed to be developed within themselves. They're trying to chase that feeling in the outside world. And if they don't get it in the male, or I mean, male or female in the outside world comes in the form of technology, or I mean, not bad technology, but in the form of overindulging in certain technologies or overindulging in practices that's not really beneficial to them, and like draping and drugging people and things like that in order to get something out of somebody that wasn't trying to get it out of them, or in personal relationships yelling at the other person, oh, you should be like this, or you should treat me like this, or you should do all that wishy-washy stuff. And people that have done psychedelics, some especially acid, sometimes you get a big you start getting big ego. Sometimes you get, it's dampened for the most part, but you start getting big because you searching for something. You searching for something, when all you really should be searching is for yourself. What do I mean by that? Everything that I've been talking about so far. The feminine fatale. The feminine fatale. We heard of that before. I heard of that. And I believe that's why a lot of people look up to like the golf stereotypes and like men and things like that. It's a YouTube video that was talking about how it's the golf stereotype women and all of the and most cartoons. Like the badass chick is mostly like a golf or something. And in the sense it was talking about how the animators feel lonely and things like this, and this is their personification. They're able to get it out and personify it and things like that. That's a theory. That's a theory. But it's something about that. Hmm. Yeah, and just to end this, wrap this up, kinda. Hold on. I want to get to. Yes, yes. Oh wait, yeah, because he really gets into what I was talking about, what I experienced, what I believe a lot of other people have had the psychedelic people experience as well, and say But then it says, this is why we gotta be good parents out here. A man's experience of his mother has been positive. This can also affect his amina in a typical but different ways, with the result that he either becomes enemy or preyed upon by women, and thus is unable to cope with the hardships of life. An enema of this sort of sort can turn men into sentimentalists, or they become as touchy as old maids or as sensitive as fairy tale princesses who can peel a pea under 30 mattresses. Like such that he cannot live it. Yes, and this is another way we get trapped up. Like when you're not connected to that. And Mina, a lot of people get caught up in overthinking so much that they don't do nothing. They don't do anything. They just sit there and they think up a whole universe but never actually experience that universe. Put it like that. And it says a more subtle manifestation of a negative amina forms in a pair of fairy tales in the form of a princess who asks her suitors to answer a series of riddles or perhaps to hide themselves under her nose. If they cannot give the answers or if she cannot find them, they must die, and she invariably wins. The amina in this guise involves men in a destructive intellectual game. We can notice the effects of this amina trick and all those neurotic pseudo intellectual dialogues that inhibit a man from getting into direct touch with life and its real decisions. The most frequent manifestation of meaning takes the form of an erotic fantasy. Men may be driven to nurse their fantasies by looking at films and striptease shows or by daydreaming over pornographic material. This is a crude, primitive aspect of the anima, which becomes compulsive only when a man does not sufficiently cultivate his feeling relationships. When his feeling attitude towards life has remained infantile. So what Carl Jung was saying was that we project all these fantasies onto women and things because we y'all heard it. Hmm. But this is what I wanted to end it with. Yeah, I think this was it. Then I'll do a part two to this. I'm gonna do a part two to this. It says all aspects of the amina have the same tendency that we observed in the shadow. That is, they can be projected so that they appear to the man to be the qualities of some particular woman. It is the presence of the amina that causes a man to fall suddenly in love when he sees a woman for the first time and knows at once that this is she. In this situation, the man feels as if he has known this woman intimately for all time. He falls for her so helplessly that it looks to outsiders like complete madness. Women who are fairy like character especially attract such amina projections because men can attribute almost anything to a creature who is so fantastically vague and thus proceed to wave fantasies around her. And this comes from people taking advantage of kind-hearted people and kind-hearted females and also kind-hearted males. But yeah, but just relating all this just back to the DMT experience and psilocybin and all that and meeting a lady and having this feeling of connection with the divine within yourself and it feeling ladylike or if you're a male a female man like or whatever the case is in your realm of reality, however it plays out. Um this dealing with this inner work, getting past the shadowness and meeting these figures as just the next level and evolving in your human consciousness. And that's what everybody's going to do. And then all of us, the human level consciousness, is just going to rise up a bit, and we're going to be dealing with new problems and have some new situations going about. That's pretty freaking. That can be pretty awesome, and pretty cool to dive into whenever the time calls. Whenever the time calls. Ah, but Yeah, but this is some good things. I believe Carl Jung, in Carl Jung terms, that happens when you start developing culture within yourself, start connecting with nature within yourself, connect with the divine within yourself and not project it. Like, I'm really, know what I'm saying, connect with the divine within yourself, the thing that's creating all of your fantasies, and not projecting it outside, seeing it outside of yourself so much that then you things will start. This is some of the cool things they say in Young terms. Yeah, so the amina is in the amina is, for instance, responsible for the fact that a man is able to find the right marriage partner. Another function is at least equally important. Whenever a man's logical mind is incapable of discerning facts that are hidden in a unconscious, the amina helps him to dig them out. Even, see, that's what I mean. Like when you meditate and things like that, when that's who we connecting with on the inside to get these downloads of information, to get the downloads, because the information is already out there. There's had to be downloaded to our biological computer systems, which is this that you see right here. This AI that's walking around right now has to get the new downloads, new operating system like the Windows 10 or things like that. That's what this is. That's how I look at it. Yeah, it says even more vital is the role that the amina plays in putting a man's mind in tune with the right inner values and thereby opening the way into more profound inner depths. It is as if an inner radio becomes tuned to a certain wavelength that excludes irrelevancies but allows the voice of the great man to be heard. And if that's not what happens in psychedelic experiences and in high forms of meditation, then hey man, then I'm telling a lie. But then this all correlates to my experiences awesomely. Like going traveling up the mountain, me telling y'all, if you watch that video, I said I didn't have that many thoughts of anxiety and things like that. A lot of people have anxiety and live within that because they're not connected with the anima or the animus within themselves. And when Jung says that radio becomes tuned to a certain wavelength, it drowns out everything else. Wavelength. Everything is a vibration. Everything's vibrating at a certain length. Certain vibration. Whatever you vibrating at, that's what the information you're gonna be getting. You either vibing low or you vibing high. Sometimes we vibe low and we get them depressive thoughts, and sometimes we vibing high and we just want to climb mountains and things like that. And sometimes we want to jump off mountains with wingsuits or go skydiving. Plus, that's how it is. That's the world that we created and manifested for ourselves. In establishing this inner radio reception, the Amina, on the role of guide or meditator to the world, takes on the role of guide or mediator to the world within and to the self. That is how she appears in example of the initiation of shamans described earlier. Yeah. Yep, and that's what it is. That's what I got for y'all right now. Cultivating the innerness and working with the mushroom, whatever entities, elemental spirits, guides, higher self, whatever aspects of yourself that is introducing yourself to, work with it, work with it, work with it, work with it, work with it. And if it's the shadow side, work with it. And know that it's just the shadow side. That is not who you are in totality. So don't listen to all those voices. And with these psychedelic experiences, I'm so happy that it's being able to get out there. In Denver, it's on the ballot to be legal so that therapists can use it in clinical settings and that people in their everyday psychonaut therapists can use it to help their friends and their family that have been damaged by drunk dads and partying mothers or abandoning mothers and aggressive dads or rapes in the past, touching feelings by uncles. A lot of things happen. A lot of things happen that even when they finally talk about it, people is still not fully healed within that person. So now with these medicines, I'm so happy that people are going to be able to connect with their amina and their animus and meet the lady, meet the male, meet whoever it is that is representing the creator, representing to them being the creator of their unconscious go around, their unconscious field, their unconsciousness, their life, whoever is creating that, and get in touch and know who they truly, truly are. And with that, guys, man, please hit a like. Just thanks for watching, guys. But to come back to the fun, hit a like, subscribe, so you know when the next video is coming out. This has been very interesting. Very, very interesting. Check out the Instagram for previous Just Tai videos, Side Tai live streams, and previews and things like that. And take care of your children. Take care of your children. Be good dads. Be good mothers. Hey, psychedelic ill. Be good dads. Be good mothers, so that you're not disrupting their connection to their connection to source, their connection to the amina and the animus, so that they can just have new problems that they got to deal with. But y'all see in this generation, the next generation is developing so fast, grasping on to concepts so eagerly and so naturally, so naturally. And that's how thanks, bro. Thanks for loving the show. Thanks for sending your love to the Just Tai show. I'm sending my love to the Just Tai show too. So it can be something on its own. But yeah, it all starts with us. It all starts with us, guys. And Jung, shout outs to Jung for just taking the time to go dive deep into all of these things and diving deep into the subconscious realm, how he puts it, and just putting it into terms that when you read it, you like, wow, that is what I was feeling. That's what I was experiencing. Things like that. But still, we gotta bring it to 2019 because he was an old man. But before I go out, if y'all have any questions, if y'all was listening to this, questions before I go, I'm looking through this book. See if there's any cool pictures that I could show y'all. What's the name of the book? The name of the book is called it's called Man and His Symbols. Carl Jung. Oh, it's Carl G. Jung? I always skip the G. That's that Terrence McKenna programming. I never say G, I'll just say Carl Jung. The Young Society. The Young.
Daddy,
Yeah.
I want you to open this off because I want to make a skirt and a
There you go.
dress for Lily.
Oh, that's how she appears. What I was tying on earlier was talking about how they mentioned how the initiation of shamans and how they connect with the amina and things like that. I think that's the initiation of us all. Like if you want to sum that all, that's the initiation of us all, connecting connecting with our inner divine. I just name it I don't know. That's such religious woo-waki, but it's a picture right here saying men project the amina onto things as well as women. For instance, ships are always known as she. Then they remember how ships they always got like the look at this. Got the female on the front of the boat. Like that was the boat carrying them. Roll, roll, roll your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. They got the Amina, the female figure on the front of the boat, and they're rolling down the river, and she's creating the dream as they go. She's creating everything as they go. Just Tai, just Tai. Wow. And cars. Carl Jung said, a car is another kind of possession that is usually feminized, that, i.e., that can become the focus of many men's amina projections. Like ships, cars are called she, and their owners caress and pamper them like their favorite mistress. And he got this picture right there of the jaguar, probably a female jaguar. Look into these emblems. These emblems on cars, they creating things as they go, ships as they go. It's in front. Woo! I think if I ever get an expensive car, I'm gonna take off the symbol and just put my own. Like even if I don't, not planning, whatever, however the money comes, however the money come. But if I ever, even if I get an expensive car, just by me reading this and knowing this, I think I'm gonna take that emblem off. I don't care what it is. I'm putting my own emblem, Mercedes, anything. I'm put my own symbol on the front of that. I ain't run by Mercedes. I ain't run by none of them. They ain't helped me. They took my money.
Put it like a skirt. Make it a dress.
But this book, if you ever get into it, I don't know if they have a PDF version, but I found this in the thrift store. One of my random, well, not so random. I needed it for now, but one of the random books where they just have a lot of interesting encyclopedia-like information, and also the most like psychedelic pictures. But they don't use the term psychedelic in here. They just say subconsciousness and things like that. The book, it first starts about it first talks about, let's go. I'm gonna just go by the table of contents. No, it's not an encyclopedia. It's not it's just like an encyclopedia because I just flip through it. I don't really go say, oh, I'm gonna read chapter 1, then 2, then 3. I just like, That's how I read this book. But it starts off just talking about how man has a lot of his symbols. A lot of the symbols. Oh wait, I just saw this awesome picture when I was flipping through this. I've never seen it before. Hold up, what the? Something with a lot of eyes. Come back to me. Come back to me. Oh, I guess not. But Carl Jung explored dreams a lot. He analyzed a lot of dreams of like thousands and thousands of people, and that's how he developed a lot of his so-called philosophies, or just philosophy. That's how philosophical impressions and markings and things like that. That's how he came up with a lot of what he did. Right here. That's how he came up with a lot of what he did. So he saw the correlation of what people were saying in their dreams to symbols that we see in the outside world, in our religious architecture, and just in our everyday life. Symbols we create for us to navigate through this 3D realm. He saw how it was correlated to what people were seeing in their dreams, and also to like horror themes, and how it related to the individual as well. He see how dreams related to the individual personality as well, like me, you, her, it, and other things like that. And he was also, I believe, he had a tidbit for more than most psychologists and stuff of that day. I gotta look up his life history, but I think something happened where something ticked in him that really connected him, so he wasn't just talking, but he was really exploring things and able to explore things for himself. And that's why he was able to talk about and analyze other people's dreams so vividly, so much that we can talk about it today. That's just how I look at it. If I still want to talk about it today, he must have did something. But but the book, it plots him talking about dreams and some of his analysis of the dreams over the years and things like that. And like in the complex, he talks about how he approached the unconsciousness and ancient myths and modern man, how to relate the process of individualization, symbolism in the visual arts. Symbolism, you got like 2 minutes. Symbolism in the visual arts and symbolism in an individual analysis. It goes deep. It goes deep, but it has a lot of pictures, so it keeps me interested. Hold on. I'm gonna switch to. Hmm. Hold on. Let's talking about the animus. We talked about the amina so much. Let's talk about the let's talk about the animus. Let's just some cool pictures real fast. Even though I said I was gonna put it up on the green screen, I still am. Just for the meantime. All right, let's talk about this real quick. All right, I'll be right back. Go in the room right back. Come right back.
Why? I just wanted you to make
I
one
know.
dress for her.
I will. I will as soon as I'm done. Cause we're gonna use some tape. We're gonna put together something real nice and fancy for her. I'm gonna make it right. I don't want to rush.
I want to make a little curly
Okay. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do it. All right. Let me do this real quick. All right. I talked about the amina for the first part. So now I'm just gonna put the second part right now. So the animus, the man within, and this is like my daughter. I guess I turned this because my daughter was here, and this is charged to fathers to be good fathers. And if you had a fatherless childhood and things like that, going through these psychedelic realms, like really focusing on repairing, if you're not able to repair that relationship physically, repairing it with your father, repairing it within yourself first before you even go out and try to do that stuff, seeing how it really affected your life and how you can overcome it, especially when you're in these realms talking to the mushroom or in these things where you can get a third person view and you're not just still in the little old me old perspective, fuck my dad and all that stuff, because this is the animus, and goes for like the man within. And let's just read what he's saying. Now I'm gonna tie off of it. The male personification of the unconscious in woman, the animus, exhibits both good and bad aspects, as does the amina and man. But the animus does not so often appear in the form of an erotic fantasy or mood. And that's why when you see damaged, I'll say like damaged females that have went through a lot of traumatic situations in their life, why they appear like hard, hard. Like a damaged male sometimes, they won't particularly appear hard. They'll do masculine things like too much, a lot, but they won't particularly appear hard or real sexual. Like, we're gonna go into this. But just reading that sentence alone had me tripping. But the animus does not often appear in the form of an erotic fantasy or mood. And if this is wrong, if y'all got some other thoughts, just throw them at me. Just throw them at me if y'all thinking about something. Like if you're a female and you like, wait, that don't really take. If you're a female, just let me know. It is more adept to take the form of a hidden sacred conviction. When such a conviction is perched with a loud, insistent masculine voice or imposed on others by means of brutal emotional scenes, the underlying masculinity in a woman is easily recognized. However, even in a woman who is outwardly very feminine, the animus can be equally hard, inexorable power. What? One may suddenly find oneself up against something in a woman that is obscene, cold, and completely inaccessible. Yeah, that's what happens with females a lot. They'll just go cold and just not want to deal with you anymore. A male with a that's not connected to the divine within and stuff like that, that hasn't properly dealt with the entheogenic realms and dealt with the entheogens, they'll want to sexually dominate the world. But females, they'll just go cold to the world. Like fuck all that shit. And we see this with Lilith. With Adam and stuff. He's like, yo, forget all of this. Lilith and the Adam and Eve and things like that. That's why you gotta pay attention to the Lilith that's in your natal chart, so you can see what it is in your nature that's saying, yo, forget all of this, because that's a challenge that's gonna be in your life. But to stick to this, yes, it goes real cold and things like that. Real cold. So, whew, you see that in rap music and a lot of things. Wow. And that's why they go for the gangsters and for the people. Like, I grew up saying, man, why like the girls always go for like the hard people, the people that seem like they don't care really about them, or y'all know what I'm trying to say. And that's because we always bring people to our lives that's like how we are feeling. So if we messed up and or we had some configuration that's got some traumas or whatever it is going, so we're gonna bring people in our lives that got the same things going on. So that makes a whole ton of sense. The tiredness is real with that. The tiredness, I can feel the tiredness with that. But in psychedelics, like I said, it's proven to help people connect more with themselves, and meditation and going out and learning this kind of information, sharing videos, listening to videos like this because they're out there, and learning to balance your forces, you can balance yourself out. But let's see what else they say. One of the favorite themes that the animus repeats endlessly in their ruminations of this kind of woman goes like this: the only thing in the world that I want is love, and he doesn't love me. Or, in this situation, there are only two possibilities, and both are equally bad. Oh, God, God, God. Like when if a woman loses hope, all hope is gone. Cause that's where the hope comes from. Whether it's in the male coming from within or the wow, we're seeing this now. Let's say Jonah Ark, played by Ingrid, whose animus, the male side of the female psyche, took the form of a sacred conviction. Right? Two images of negative animus, a 16th century painting of an old woman dancing with death. Hades with Persephone, from whom he abducted to the underworld. Oh, so that's what these are. This is. Right. Yeah, this is a painting of a woman dancing with death. This is a painting of a woman dancing with death. And this is Persephone with Hades, because she was tempted to go into the underworld with Hades, and she got out. Got a whole thing on that with the, gosh, yeah, I don't know what it is. I was about to say the Chinese apples. It's not pomegranates, pomegranates. But yes, as they love death. Like when the animus is kind of destructed, you fall in love with death. And I know this from the opposite field, like I was saying a couple minutes ago with the amina. I was in love with how it comes out sometimes in male. I was in love with um I was seeing things as useless, and my projection was loving the goth type personality of females, and seeing like how they're in love with death and fascinated. Oh, this don't really mean anything and all that stuff. Like that was what I was attracted to, because that's how I was feeling on the inside because of blah, 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 blah. You just making sense. It's just making enough sense. I know it's not going to make enough sense. I don't want it to make perfect sense, because then it's going to become a lie. So I'm gonna keep this airy as I can. But I still want to get the message across. Any message would come across. I don't know. But yeah, he said the only thing in this world I want is love, and he doesn't love me. If you're in a relationship, and especially a young relationship, early 20s, a lot of people still in their 30s, 40s, especially when you're a teenager. When people get upset, like a lot of males give themselves up trying to. I've seen this with myself. I gave myself up to a lot of females to try to make them love me, because I seen how they had this feeling that I probably wasn't loving them. And that was they a lot of I dated a lot of females that didn't have um a lot of structure with dads growing up. So this plays right into my room in reality. And me, and then it plays out in males, and sometimes in my personality type that wasn't, I didn't grow up a alpha male. So I was, if that means anything, I didn't grow up attacking like, yo, you my girl. It was more like, yo, man, like, oh, I love it. I'll give you all of this and all of this. And you can get played and taken advantage of in different types of situations. But I wasn't completely always, I never got really played and stuff. But whatever, who cares about that? um, yeah, the animus never believes. Yeah, but this is how this was going. It's a lot of damage stuff going on, and a lot of people doing a lot of overly things, and then saying, "Well, this is the way I am," and people saying, "Oh, well, I just accept." A lot of women out here accepting, "Yeah, I'm just a bitch." That's just y'all said this is. I accept those terms and I agree those terms and agreements and things like that. That's the way I raised. I'm hurt on the inside. The world is trying to get me, and I'm just upset at the world. I want love, and no one loves me. So, so it's this barriers, these walls that's built up, and they're still women, so they're still able to be expressive and things like that, but still not as goddess as they can be, not as goddess like as they actually can be. As being that's what I see going on in the feminist community. It's a lot of anger, it's a lot of change that needs to be there. The change they're fighting for needs to be changed. But as always, the ways that we going about things, because of the ways that we've been taught, is just causing more and more cycles, more and more damage, man. But it's all good. It's all good. But to keep going with this, it says Jung has said that animus never believes in exceptions. Wait, I gotta take another puffer. All right, it's getting to that point. I got you. And this just sees where I see a lot of females in their fascination with death. One can rarely contradict an animist opinion because it is usually right in a general way. I just said this. Yet it seldom seems to fit the individual situation. It is adapt to be an opinion that seems reasonable, but besides the point. Just as the character of a man's amina is shaped by his mother, so the animus is basically influenced by a woman's father. The father endowed his daughter's animus with the special coloring of unarguable, incontestable, true convictions that never include the personal reality of the woman herself as she actually is. This is why the animus is sometimes like the anima, a demon of death. For example, a gypsy fairy tale of a handsome stranger is received by a lonely woman in spite of the fact that she has a dream warning her that he is the king of the dead. After he has been with her for a time, she presses him to tell her who he really is. At first, he refuses, saying that she will die if he tells her. She insists, however, and suddenly he reveals to her that he is death himself. The woman immediately dies of fright. And oh, they talk about Hades and Persephone, but psychologically, Hades represents a particular form of the animus. He lures women away from all human relationships and especially from all contacts with real men. He personifies a cocoon of dreamy thoughts filled with desire and judgments about how things ought to be, which cut a woman off from the reality of life. The negative animus does not appear only as a death demon in myths and fairy tales. He plays the role of robber and murderer. One example is Bluebeard, who secretly kills all his wives in a hidden chamber. Whoa! In this form, the animus personifies all those semi-conscious, cold, destructive reflections that invade a woman in the small hours, especially when she has failed to realize some obligation of feeling. The male just comes up and say, "I gotcha, 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 bitch." Shout outs to Dave Chappelle. It is then that she begins to think about the family heritage and matters of that kind, a sort of web of calculating thoughts filled with malice and intrigue, which get her into a state where she even wishes death to others. Whoa. Alright, guys, I think I gotta go feed my daughter. Speaking of taking care of daughters. So I'm gonna continue this and make this a part two because this is very, very, very eye-opening information. Because when they say Hades and Persephone, Hades represents because you sometimes females invite them in, and this is all really actually happening. That's why females. That's why my daughter. I'm saying you can date, but you ain't gonna date until you are right. You ain't gonna be dating to get right or dating like I'm gonna try to put in the best terms as I possibly can without saying right or wrong. Cause this what you think is right. But you create the other person. I seen this in my own relationship. How we are manifesting each other at the same time, and that's why I'm getting myself together and building myself to be as clean as I can. Not as perfect, because nothing perfect, but as clean as I can be, so that my reflection would then start moving things even more with inside of her, instead of me saying this is what things ought to be. Because then I'm coming into her life as her demon. Because then I am right in my reality by pointing out the things that I'm saying, but I am coming, and she has manifested me. Like in my psychedelic states and heightened awareness, I say sometimes, like, yo, you created me. You created this thing. And when saying it, it feels like I'm playing a role. Like I'm able to be aware enough to say I'm playing it, but I'm not able to sometimes snap out of it and say, yo, well, don't play that role yourself either. But I'm able to say, like, yo, I see that you manifested this. Like, this, and when I'm in those states sometimes, like microdose sometimes. That's why you gotta be careful with microdose and how much you take and what's actually going on in the environment and things. But I love the learning experiences. But for females, it was one in her first huge her first psychedelic trip was with mushrooms. At one point, she literally was saying that I was the devil and that I was like the antichrist or something like that. And at the time, I was like, "Whoa, what are you talking about?" Like, no, I'm not. No, no. But she's going through her whole thing, and it was really like how she was seen with Hades and Persephone. I came in her life, and in early times before psychedelics, it was like that. I didn't want her to be around certain atmospheres and situations and stuff. And in Philly, I would get upset when certain men would like be looking at her and things like that. And I was doing is creating certain things. So during the trip, that's what she was seeing for herself from like this other perspective. And since then, it shaped a lot of things, shaped our relationship a lot, and revealed a lot about to me about really what goes on in reality and intentions and how to really play out and work with other people and who people really are. Like when I say people are reflections of yourself, they truly are. But just we just gotta be careful and watch out for our daughters and watch out if you dating if you like, man, you like when I'm rowdy or you like when I'm this, then see if y'all both need to get rise up and get to a certain level of human consciousness and peace and things. I don't really have a term for it right now. But hey guys, I'm gonna go now. Thanks for tuning in, Psychedelic Ill. Thanks for tuning in, Brandon. And I'm gonna catch y'all on the tie side. I'm gonna catch you on the tie side. I'm gonna say, man, we all tie, but do we really tie? Sometimes I don't know, dude. Sometimes